Hey guys, welcome to the Current Station Lunar Strike Trophy Season number 5. Sorry, my mic wasn't working, I had to readjust it. Carstensz versus YACHE123, as this is going to be Carstensz's debut. Previously, where Carstensz were playing with Grish and Essen, they're no longer going to be playing with them, apparently. They now have Ren and KNP. Meanwhile, the rest of their lineup is pretty much the same. Boombui, Mamang Daya, and Q. Last time around, Carstensz were at the very top of the group stage chart when the group stage ended. This time around, they're not exactly too sure how they're going to adjust without Essen and Krish, but let's see what they end up doing. I mean, obviously, it's something that only time will tell. I have limited info on Ren and KNP. Meanwhile, for your show, they're your defending champions. Despite the fact that they did not manage out a win yesterday, they did look pretty strong. And I would imagine that your show make it into the playoffs, and because most of the teams in the group stage will be making it into the playoffs, right? It's a top 8 group stage, or rather, it's a 8 teams group stage with only 2 teams being eliminated. The top 6 will make it into the playoffs. Top 4 upper brackets, 5th and 6th in the lower brackets, but then all 6 teams, and YACHE123 are very much in the top 6 teams. Overall, even if I think about every other team in Southeast Asia, I would imagine that YACHE123 are in the top 6 in Southeast Asia overall. So it does seem like they have, a good, bright future ahead of them. Even though, previously where they had the backing of the Mongols organization, at least as far as I know, since they played with their logos and all. Now they don't, but hopefully an org can pick them up. Carstensz, meanwhile, they do have an org. It is their draft that does make me feel like they haven't exactly changed much, right? This is the kind of draft that they came out with last time around, although they do pick themselves up a Lion, not exactly a hero that has a lot of flex potential. I believe I saw the Lion yesterday in game number 1 between Nemesis and Liquid, where Liquid picked up the Lion, but we all saw 23 Savage just destroying Liquid in that game number 1, even though they did not win the overall series. Let's see though, because right now YACHE123 have picked up a Tidehunter, which is pretty good against the Beastmaster. They were lacking in that tank department. I don't think they had too much sustain going into this, but they do have a bit of sustain now. And someone to build up those auras. May want to have those auras up like the Crimson Guard, as well as the pipe against the physical damage that the Beastmaster and Dragon Knight are going to be bringing in, and the magical damage that the Lion and Shadow Demon are going to be bringing in. But also the auras are not going to be as strong against the Shadow Demon, right, with the Demonic Purge being available. So let's see how YACHE123, or rather who YACHE123 pick up as their carry, because I'm not sure if the Marcy carry is the way to go about it. I think you need a better carry. Especially against the kind of lineup, the kind of control the Carstensz have, and the kind of carry they're going to be playing with, right? Dragon Knight, perhaps, if that is their carry, that's what YACHE123 are expecting, because they are banning out the Queen of Pain, and most likely will ban out another hero. Meanwhile, Carstensz are actually predicting this to be a Marcy carry, as they've banned out the Snapfire as well as that Hoodwink.
10 seconds remaining.
Interesting.
5 seconds remaining.
Let's see, YACHE123 lost ban on the cards here, and not too sure of who that is going to be. It's actually going to be the Troll Warlord as their lost ban. That is a really good ban if, I actually think. But it does mean that they're not sure of who the carry is going to be between the Dragon Knight, between seeing the Dragon Knight and also seeing the flex potential of that Dragon Knight to be able to go to the mid lane or even the carry position. Even the Beastmaster, in fact, I remember when I was casting South American Dota, I used to see the Beastmaster on the mid lane quite frequently, even though I don't think I've ever seen the Beastmaster mid in the Southeast Asian region as far as this year goes.
Radiant team pick.
Ooh, Yasho actually pick up a Phoenix, which will mean that this is going to be a Marcy carry, and a Phoenix and Enchantress going to be the support positions. Interesting. I am not entirely too sure of why they picked up the Phoenix. Maybe it's just that mischance as well as that, just that wombo combo. You have the Egg plus the Tidehunter's Ravage, which will be a difficult set of abilities to deal with. I think this Beastmaster will have to go for some auras. And for Carstensz, who are they going to pick up as their carry? I think they need someone that can deal with the Egg properly. And one of those heroes is the Juggernaut. You can, although even though the Juggernaut will struggle against the Marcy, I think the Juggernaut with the Blade Fury can deal with the Egg quite easily. Not to mention, can also play against the Pangolier's Rolling Thunder as well as the Tidehunter's Ravage, because the Blade Fury is not going to be, while you're spinning, you're not going to be affected by the stuns or the disables or even any kind of control that your show are bringing in. You are going to be in danger of the Marcy just pounding you down, but apart from that, you're going to be pretty safe. So let's see what they'll actually be bringing in. Carstensz will pick up a Windranger for their lineup. This is interesting. I am not sure if this is a Windranger carry. OMQ does pick it up, so I suppose it is going to be a Windranger carry and a Dragonite on the mid lane. Meanwhile, you would have the Beastmaster playing as the off lane. Boombui is, of course, their support. And so is Ren. Just taking a look at both of these two lineups, I can't imagine either one having come out with an outdraft, but I will say that Carstensz do seem like they have the better draft. Even though, the Windranger carry may seem a bit dubious, it is a hero that a lot of teams, even on that tier 1 stage, are playing on the carry roles, particularly in Southeast Asia or from Southeast Asia. We see Natsumi from OG play with the Windranger quite a bit in those tier 1 tournaments, in both the Blast-Time 4, Blast-Time 5, as well as the ongoing Dream League. We see the Windranger being picked up. So, or rather, I mean, we didn't see the Windranger yesterday, but still, probably will see it considering it's a Swiss stage. Overall, I do like this approach by Carstensz. My big question is going to be how this Windranger, how OMQ is going to be playing around the Ravage as well as around the Egg, and how actually they plan on taking out the Egg. And the Windranger is really strong against the Marcy, right? Because the Pound is not going to be doing as much to the Windranger. Let's see, the logos are not available on the screen, so I will turn them on from my side for you guys. So hopefully you see them on your screens. Again, I have to do it. I have to actually do it from my side because the in-game is apparently bugged out of its mind. The logos have not been appearing in-game for a lot of the tournaments that I've been casting. I don't know why. Maybe it's an incoming patch. But I suppose, the talks about the incoming patch have been so dry as of late.
30 seconds to battle.
There is a set of movements happening from Yasho. They don't exactly have their entire lineup, but you don't need their entire lineup to take Boombui down if they actually catch him. However, they'll need to be quick with it because there is a lot of heroes available from Carstensz just towards that river. Boombui will spot the play here, but Panda will end up with the bounty rune. It should be 2 and 2 bounty runes. No, actually, it's going to be 3 bounty runes that Yasho are going to be, or rather, yeah, Yasho are going to be able to get. Fortune Soul will pick up the 3rd. Alongside the 2nd, actually, Fortune Soul picked up 2 bounty runes. Interesting, Carstensz did not contest a bit harder. They just chose to stick around. They just chose to stick to the 1 bounty rune they were able to get. They left Boombui alone to be able to secure the bounty rune all by himself. That was someone asked me if there are going to be if there's going to be one best of 3 for today. There is another best of 3 plan. I believe it's going to be Murlocs versus YG. I'm not entirely sure, but I will confirm it once this series ends. Right towards the end of this series, I will take a look and I will let you all know. Top side is going to be a Lion and a Beastmaster versus an Enchantress and a Marcy. Interesting matchup because normally I think the Lion is actually an incredibly strong support and great on the position 4 role. Right now there's going to be a bit of poke and prod between both of these two sides. Unfortunate Soul may just end up going down. KNP will draw first blood. YACHE did not expect that one, and even the Access almost took Tammy out. He had the Nature's Attendance, which helped him heal up a bit. But you have to be wary about this kind of combination. There is so much control coming in from Ren. He has the Earth Spike right now, but he has the ability to get that Hex as well. I suppose he'll take the mana drain first because he has no more mana to play with. But one of the things that makes the Lion a great position 4 hero is that he really only needs 2 items. He just needs that impale, or rather, he just needs those boots, as well as the Blink Dagger. That's it. You get the Tranquil Boots, and then you can go for the Blink Dagger. Meanwhile, Fortune Soul needs to be careful because right now he doesn't have too many chances for error here. He is going to be the majority of the physical damage available from Carstensz, or rather from YACHE. So you want to keep him alive. Not to mention, for YACHE, they don't have a series win quite just yet. They lost yesterday. So you want to have a win early on in the group stage just to be able to feel, you know, that confidence going into the later parts of the group stage. Mid lane is going to be a Dragon Knight versus a Pangolier. I think we've seen this matchup quite a bit. Isn't exactly a super strong hero. Isn't exactly super weak either. I mean, both of them, right? Should be able to farm up. I don't think either one should be able to get a kill on the other. It's a pretty boring matchup, right? Unless there's a rotation happening, neither of these heroes should go down. And I don't think there's any room for a rotation anyway, because you're about to hit your level 6 on both heroes. And a level 6 on Ikigai makes it very difficult to take the Pangolier down. He'll almost always be able to get the Rolling Thunder off. The level 6 on Ramangdaya still means you can take him out, particularly with the Phoenix, who should be going for that vessel, but you also have a Pangolier who can go for the vessel. So it'll be interesting to see who goes for it. In fact, even the Enchantress from YACHE's side can actually go for the Spirit Vessel. Bot lane, again, Q plus the Shadow Demon, who is currently heading back to his base. Despite having the regen here, he has a Tango. He has a Tango, he has a Mango, he has everything to regen up. Meanwhile, bot side is Panda plus Bisk versus Q. There's nothing you can do to the Wind Ranger, right? That's the obvious bit as I look at this lane. But maybe with the Shadow Demon they can make something happen. I'm not entirely too sure about that. I think you can get a kill on Bisk because you can cancel his dive with the disruption. Oh, we saw Boombui try it there, but I believe the cost range wasn't there. Ren will end up going down towards that top lane. A nice return kill being found by YACHE on towards Ren. I believe he got the kill almost solo. Fortune Soul's Dispose did come into play there, or I think his rebound came into play there. Two for one, a slightly static early game, all things considered, but towards that bot lane, it is 3 heroes. It is Ren who respawned and teleported towards that bot side, but Panda has too much mana, or rather too much HP, to be able to take down that easily. He will be able to stay safe, and this little rotation by Ren is not going to do as much. Now he is going to rotate away towards that mid lane perhaps. The drawback is that KNP is going to suffer. He has to abandon the lane because there's no way you lane against a Marcy all by yourself.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
6-minute power rune is spawning, as currently Ren is there towards that top side power rune. Ikigai may not be able to secure it, or even though you don't have the Hex available. 6-minute power rune is going to spawn towards that bot side, but it's actually a huge loss for Carstensz because they lose Q towards that bot lane. Tammy able to take the Wind Ranger down, and that is your carry. A bigger loss than the loss of Fortune Soul because that happened very early on. It is a lot of pressure being applied on that mid lane though. Mamang Daya with the first dragon form of the game, applying damage towards that tier 1 tower, and with the regeneration rune he can actually effectively tank the hits of this tier 1 tower too. Dragon Tail being used on Ikigai, who has no more mana, so the Bisque has to come in with the dive to push back at Mamang Daya and Ren. First dragon form of the game still not having expired. The tier 1 tower has taken in quite a lot of damage, only has about 700 HP remaining. All the meanwhile, there is a Shrine of Wisdom play. Fortune Soul was thinking about moving in, but will now just go back, because I believe they did also see Mamang Daya's teleport. And he has a limited capacity to actually find, or rather take out these stacks, because he does not have his dragon form up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Tier 1 tower towards that bot side also being pressured quite heavily, and I think this will be the first tower that will fall in the game. You go the way of your show. Just the fact that you have this Dark Troll Summoner, the skeletons are too much, but Q does find a good deny,
Dire's middle tower is
taking away a lot of the gold away from your show, who really wanted that tower. It's actually Mamang Daya who is in a world of trouble here. Unable to actually do anything against these three heroes. It's just going to get battle rolled over. Ikigai to pick up the kill, and even Ikigai to go on forward on towards Ren, who will end up falling. 4 heroes on this mid lane, with Fortune Soul having activated that Unleash. This might just end up being the second tier 1 tower that your show will end up gaining. A rebound by Fortune Soul, a bit of an overextension. He's going to end up getting rolled up. Can he actually make his way out of that one? He can't. Bimbui will be able to pick up the kill, and now it's going to be Carstensz who fight back. Fortune Soul, that rebound really costing them this push. And a nice shackle being found by Q2. That's going to be yet another kill being found on Tammy. That is a good set of return kills that they were able to find. I mean, they were getting overrun there, so I'm glad that Carstensz are able to at least push back, if not counter push, because the tier 1 tower towards that mid lane is very low.
Every coin helps.
A 3-man smoke coming out. Mamang Daya could be in trouble. There is no diffusal blade slow there. And this is a very difficult kill to get right next to the tier 2 tower. And I think that Yasho realizes they're just going to disengage entirely.
top tower is under attack.
Trying to get the kill on the Dragon Knight when he's so close to his tier 2, when the teleports can come in from any angle, from either the tier 1 or the tier 2 or even the outpost. 3 positions where you could teleport makes that an incredibly risky play. And again, I would recommend, or I would rather remind you guys that you cannot give spoilers out in the chat. You will end up getting banned. The first time I always like to give out a warning, not to give spoilers, but the second will be a ban. So just you know, just don't do it. There's no point in doing that. Mamangdaya, he is gonna get got on. Fortune Soul has the unleash, and Mamangdaya does not have the sustain, or even the heroes nearby to actually continue fighting. His supports were not present. They were trying to defend their tier 1 tower, but it is a futile attempt by these supports. The tier 1 tower will fall. YACHE are applying a lot of aggression and a lot of pressure on Carstensz, who are simply unable to fight back, because even towards that top side, the tier 1 tower is down to about half of its HP. And now it is Carstensz who are going to move on in, but the rebound from the Marcy will just mean that she can run back, and the Phoenix will quite literally just fly away. YACHE, do they want to go in? The egg does get used, and KNP has nowhere to go. Roar gets used to stop Ikigai's roll forward, but in the end, he will continue on to charge. Boombui is incredibly low, and Ikigai will realize this after taking KMP down. He might make a move on that Shadow Demon, as Q, he can't sustain his position for any longer. In fact, he might just end up falling here. Drops down his focus fire, but cannot focus Ikigai down. It's Q to lose his life. Boombui, who has been dealing out the Shadow Poison so far, is going to run out of time. 3 heroes being taken down by YACHE, and they did not lose a single one, and they will, in the end, still go for the objective, which is that tier 1 tower. Mamangdaya does have the Blink Dagger, but has no backup, so can't actually initiate.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
This is the becoming of a disaster here. Tammy will walk on forward. Ren finds a nice stun, but that will give the green light for Fortune Soul to move on in. It's Mamangdaya who is going to end up losing his life. 4-9 now, 5,000 of a lead up for YACHE, and they are looking formidable. They are looking like they're here to play. Ren? Oh man, Ren's just gonna die to the sun ray. Is the beam, is the hyper beam. Coming in from, you know, Dota's own Mewtwo. Oh no, even Cube dies towards that bot lane. I did not expect that kill to happen. Can't keep losing your Wind Ranger like that. In fact, he's already died 3 times. Sure, KNP gets a return kill on Panda, but Panda did his job there. And they're going to be fine with losing their off-lane Tidehunter. In exchange for getting a kill on the carry, that's going to be worth it each and every single day of the week.
Why not?
As Ikigai moves on forward, Mamangdaya, he blinked, but he got stuck. He may be able to dish out the hits, but won't be able to do so once Ikigai moves out of range. And Mamangdaya is going to get hit by the stun, but I don't think they realize where he is. He will have another stun coming up, but by the time he does, YACHE will have already made their exit. And in fact, they're pressuring that topside tower. They have the Unleash by Fortune Soul. That's tier 2 tower falling 14 minutes in. Q once again finds an amazing deny. Oh man, I mean, finding a deny in between of the Unleash, that is some unique skill being displayed by Q. Unfortunately, they are losing the game quite, you know, in a very one-sided way.
Dire are scanning.
I'm not exactly too sure of what options Carstensz have right now, apart from just trying to farm up. But even if you, as you try to farm, it's not as if the game is going to get any easier for them.
Radiant are scanning.
YACHE is just going to continue applying pressure. And everyone from Carstensz just have to disengage every single time they see the full force of YACHE running at them. Or at their objectives, because there's no way to defend these towers either. Against Panda, who has the Ravage, all he really needs to do is drop it down when Carstensz try to make a move.
Bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
This is
Dire structures are
a bit awkward right now
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
from Carstenz's side. I mean, they don't have any leeway. They don't have any room for error left. Because if you get wiped now, that is going to be your high ground being besieged. Fortune Soul will spot out Mamong Daya. He knows that the Dragon Knight is there, but he needs backup in order to get the skill. Scan is going to spot him out too. They see Mamong Daya. The Phoenix is also coming in. But now the rebound has been used. Mamong Daya can potentially go for the TP, but unfortunately has lost too much of his HP. He's going to fall without the Unleash coming out from Fortune Soul. And I'm not exactly too sure how much fuel YACHE actually, or rather, how much fuel Carstensz actually have to stay in this game. Even KNP is gonna get battle rolled over. The Phoenix Egg comes out, and he has nowhere to go. He's struggling to even use his roar. He'll make a play on Ren 2 as soon as he's done with his Beastmaster. Disruption comes out from the Shadow Demon to momentarily buy the Lion some amount of time, but Ren is too low on his HP, will just die to the fuel crash, even as a Demonic Purge comes out. Mamong Daya goes in for a stun play, but needs to be careful. Ravage comes out in response from Panda, and Mamong Daya is in danger. In fact, he has no way of making it back to his high ground. He will simply fall, giving Ikigai a triple kill. 12,000 of a lead, 17 minutes in, means this is one of the most one-sided games this group stage has seen so far.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And even their high ground is being besieged. The tier 3 tower has fallen, and even the barracks is exposed, almost
Radiant's middle tower
having gone down too. There is no Ravage, so this could be the play that Carstensz can turn the game around with, but it's so difficult finding the right entry. OMQ doesn't have the farm, he simply only has a Maelstrom. Right now it's going for that BKB, but Roshan is under threat. Aegis is going to be up for grabs. And with this Aegis, I think that is the opening that YACHE are going to be looking for, or rather, the opening that they were looking for. And they will have that opening to make their play towards that barracks again. And when they go up there, you still won't have a BKB up for OMQ. Mamong Daya does not have a BKB either. No one who is going for the BKB has it. KNP does have the Aghanim Scepter, so he does have some ability to fight back, but it's very limited. Rolling Thunder goes out. Ikigai, or rather Bumbui, he is going to end up going down. They're right outside of their fountain, and they're potentially going to end up falling. KNP does end up going down. OMQ is there, but how much longer can you possibly fight back? Bumbui buys back into the game. A nice shackle found by OMQ, but the Ravage comes out by Panda, and they'll take Ren out first. They'll push Carstensz back all the way to their fountain, as Fortune Soul still hasn't gone down. Now the Finger of Death is used. That will take out Fortune Soul's first life, but he has another one to play with. He will rebound on back. The barracks have fallen. $17,000 of a net worth lead. Panda, alongside the rest of his team, are on a tier 3 towers. For the second time, it's the mid lane barracks that they want, and really, YACHE are not wasting any time. They really just seem like they want the win as early as possible. It's the mid lane melee barracks that is down to about a quarter of its HP and will potentially even fall, but as it does, Ikigai goes on in with the Rolling Thunder, stunning up everyone from Carstensz. OMQ does not have the space to move around. He will end up falling, has the wind run, but cannot escape. KNP does fight back, takes that Fortune Soul, but the rest of YACHE are still up on Carstensz. Only 2 heroes remaining. Ren is going to end up losing his life as Mamanglaya ends up calling GG. This really was just too brutal of a beatdown coming out by YACHE. 22 minutes in, they end up with the win. Oh man, this was very one-sided. I was not expecting this kind of a one-sided affair between both of these two sides. I really did think that Carstensz, they could have put up more of a fight, but it seemed like YACHE, they just pressured from too early on, and Carstensz did not have a game plan on how to mitigate the pressure that's coming out from the other side. I think it just simply came down to the fact that you were losing too much map control too quickly and weren't able to find enough return kills or even enough farm or any kind of counter push. To YACHE, that's a very well played and very well thought out game, very methodical. Let's see though what the game plan will be for that game number 2. Will YACHE just continue with the same kind of strategy, or if Carstensz will change it up? We will be off to a short break before we resume with Lunar Snake Trophy Season 5. Right after it, do make sure to stay tuned on in. through and through. Let's see if they'll be able to continue their domination as Carstensz do pick up a Nature's Prophet, most likely going to be for OMQ himself. Or maybe even Mamang Daya, because both I've seen both of them played with the Nature's Prophet, both of them are pretty good with it. Carstensz will pick up, interestingly, a Disruptor into a Pangolier. Normally, it's the other way around, where the Pangolier is picked into the Disruptor, because Pangolier is downright amazing against a Disruptor. Meanwhile, Carstensz will have that Tusk, a hero that they are known to play with, but then again, most teams like to play with the Tusk. It just offers too much value in the early game with his tag team. And then the wall response and even the snowball save is pretty strong. YACHE will have a Pugna and a Shadow Demon. Interesting combination coming out from their side. This is something that I believe Nemesis tried in their game number 1 against Liquid. And some of the casters did not appreciate this combination. I agree that it lacks a certain amount of damage output, right? But in this particular scenario, you have the Abaddon and the Pangolier, so they do have a bit of damage output going into this. And not to mention, so much sustain. The Pugna plus the Abaddon, those are two heroes that are going to be very difficult to take down. For Carstensz, I wonder how they're going to do the job. Fourth pick now on the horizon. They need to add in some sustain to their lineup, because they see the Abaddon and the Pangolier on the other side, and their own heroes are pretty squishy. The Mars does solve a lot of those issues. Not to mention, this is a pretty good lineup for team fighting coming out by Carstensz. However, I still wonder the same thing, how they plan on counter pushing against YACHE's lineup, who are coming in with the Pugna and the Nether Blast. A lot of push, which was what Carstensz struggled with in that previous game. As soon as the Pugna hits his level 5, he is going to be rotating all across the map, just pounding those towers with those blasts, and how are you going to fight back? That is the big question. They do have some good supports to rotate around with the Tusk and a Disruptor, so I will say that this time around, Carstensz have a much better lineup designed to fight against the incoming push from YACHE. But is it going to be good enough to not only fight back against the push, but also take the fight to YACHE? That is going to be the big question, because that's what another department where Carstensz were struggling. I would say that YACHE were playing just a whole lot better than Carstensz were in that previous game. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it just simply comes down to that. Remember, Carstensz, while YACHE are your defending champions, they were the winners of the last Lunar Snake Trophy. It's Carstensz who were at the very top of the group stage chart in the previous Lunar Snake Trophy, despite of not having, that good of a run in the playoffs, where I mean, if you think about the prize pool, and if you think about just about any tournament, the playoffs is really what determines your placement. In the end, the playoffs are what matters, and in particular, it doesn't matter if you're first or fourth in the group stage, because you still get seeded into the upper brackets. What matters is how you then proceed on to play in the playoffs when you're in the upper brackets, right? Whether you drop down or you just proceed on further, because it's only one win that separates you from the upper bracket finals. Only have about 4 teams in the upper brackets, right? So 1 win will get you to the upper bracket finals. 2 wins from the upper brackets will land you directly into the grand finals. Meanwhile, the lower brackets is going to be a bit of an extended run with 1 more round in those, because you do have the 5th and 6th place team in the lower brackets. But that's enough about the playoffs and how playoffs are generally designed, and how, a team should be thinking about the playoffs. Right now, it's how you think about the group stage, and for YACHE, they're on the cusp of achieving their first series win. For Carstensz, who are at the very top of the group stage, they need to come up with an action plan that keeps them in contention for the series, because 1 more game and they will lose the series against YACHE, and this is their debut for this current season. Morphling to be picked up by Carstensz, and this does mean this Mamang Daya will be playing the Nature's Prophet. I will say that this is an incredibly greedy lineup coming out by Carstensz. They need so much farm on that Morphling, and it doesn't solve the issue of that counter push. We saw YACHE pushing out those towers so early on, and I really don't think the Morphling is designed to stop the pushes from coming in. Maybe Mamangdaya plays this kind of active Nature's Prophet with a Blade Mail and a, the Vessel plus Blade Mail combination, and then you have the Shard as well coming in, and maybe the Orchid and items like that, which is pretty good. But you have the Pugna on the other side. The Decrepify plus the Life Drain will keep anyone who gets gone on safe and alive, not to mention Disruption as well from the Shadow Demon. So this is, I believe that they sure have a lot of answers to what Carstensz are trying to do with their draft. But then you also have your lost pick remaining, and for Carstensz, they're actually thinking this is going to be an Abaddon on the off lane rather than a safe lane Abaddon. I wonder if that will be the case, because I do recall that Fortune Soul loves to play the Abaddon. So for YACHE, I think this should just be a safe lane Abaddon, a mid lane Pangolier. Or if you want to switch things around, you can pick up yourself something like a Queen of Pain on the mid lane and send the Pangolier with on the off lane on Panda. That could be one way to go about it. Ooh, they'll pick up a Tidehunter, so it will be a safe lane Abaddon, and they'll have Panda on the Tidehunter as he was in the previous game too. They'll also have Ikigai on the Pangolier, so it's two heroes that they were playing with in the previous game. Meanwhile, Carstensz are going to pick up different heroes on their entire lineup. Let's see, because while I do think YACHE had the better draft simply because of the carry matchup, Abaddon versus the Morphling, I prefer the Abaddon if you're trying to attempt for the mid game, particularly with stacking up a lot of push. That is a good recipe for success. I do think that if Carstensz are able to hold on to the game, take it to the late game, then they're going to be massively ahead. I mean, the Nature's Prophet and the Morphling cannot be contested by what YACHE are bringing in. The Tidehunter is going to wear off on his impact once you have some BKBs coming about. And then you have the Mars that can come in with the spears, the arena, the Hex, right? So these supports from in the form of the Shadow Demon and the Pugna on Bisque and Tammy are going to be vulnerable targets for the Mars once the game reaches past that 30, 35, 40 minute mark. I think the late game is in the hands of Carstensz, but if somehow Carstensz are unable to take it to the late game, then YACHE will simply be ahead. If they lose too many towers, they will be too far behind to actually mount up a comeback. And we saw exactly when YACHE ended up going for the tier 3s, right? 17 or 18 minutes in, they were on the high ground of Carstensz. And you cannot, in any scenario, right? Even if you're a mid-game lineup, even if you're an early game lineup, if your high ground is being pushed 17 to 18 minutes in, there's not much of a comeback you can find there. Let's see, because it is a new game. It is a fresh start for Carstensz. Let's see if they can manage the win. Again, I will adjust the in-game logos for you guys. It is going to be YACHE who are on the Radiant side. And it's going to be Carstensz on the Dire. And I have adjusted the logos for you guys. You should see them on your screens. It's left versus right, blue, or rather green versus red. I prefer blue versus red, but, there's a lot of greenery found on the Radiant side of the map. As YACHE are going to go for yet another 3-man smoke. Last time around, YACHE ended up with 3 bounty runes. Let's see how much of an advantage, if any advantage, they'll be able to grab. As you do have Q on a Morphling here, who has skilled up his attribute shift already, so does not have any kind of survivability, cannot waveform back. So he needs to be wary of that fact, and should just stick to playing safe. Because if he goes for this bounty rune, he could end up in danger. Now that is a good way to go about it. He will just spot out the fact that there's a Tidehunter, And it will be 2 and 2 bounty runes each, so this time around, no advantage coming out for the side of YACHE. But they will look to block out, or body block the creeps here, so they won't be able... the lane momentum will be going in favor of YACHE. They'll push in their own creeps inside of the tier 1 tower, and the next set of creeps that will come out from Carstensz's side will push in deeper into the offlane. Speaking about the offlane though, for YACHE, it is a Tide Hunter and a Shadow Demon versus a Disruptor and a Morphling, and I think this is a lane that doesn't favor either side. I will say that there is a save against the Disruption in the form of that, or rather a save against the Glimpse in the form of that Disruption from Bisq. So if Boomboy is caught in a difficult spot, Panda can take the Disruptor out. At the same time, it is pretty hard, and I think the same thing applies against YACHE. If Bisq is in a horrible position, then you can go in with Waveform, and it's difficult for the Tide Hunter to get a kill on the Morphling because of the attribute shift. The Panda has the Anchor Smash, which isn't a huge source of damage, particularly in the early game. It is a nice bit of damage reduction, but as long as the Tide Hunter isn't the target, he shouldn't be, he shouldn't be able to save Bisq. Mid lane Nature's Prophet against the Pangolier. Ikigai versus Mamang Daya. And I think it's a similar situation to that last game, but it is a bit different because you can take Mamang Daya down if you're the Pangolier, but I think you will need your level 6 for it. I don't think you can take Mamang Daya down without it. Not to mention, Mamang Daya shouldn't ever be low enough for the Pangolier to take him down. He always has the ability to just teleport back to his base and teleport back with his TP scroll, or vice versa, right? You can TP scroll back and then teleport back. There is no stun available from Ikigai, so he literally cannot stop the teleport. Mamang Daya though, he's on that top side, and it will be Bisq who will end up giving up first blood. Mamang Daya will be the one to draw it. Carstensz come out swinging in the second game. And Mamang Daya is back with that teleport that I was talking about. A nice early game start being found by, or rather being carved out by Carstensz. Bot lane, there is so much sustain in this lane. I mean, you have Tammy with the Pugna, or rather, you don't have the life drain, but you still do have the Decrepify, which makes the tag team essentially worthless on the Tusk. I mean, you activate the tag team, the Pugna throws out the Decrepify, and then what? You can't dish out any hits, so the tag team is not going to be a big factor in this lane. Not to mention, Fortune Soul has the Aphotic Shield, so this is a lane that I think YACHE should just sorry about that, should just farm in,
Are fortified.
and they'll be fine. Now, it is going to be a bit impossible to have the kind of game that you had in the previous one, where you were pushing so incredibly quick, your carry was online, because while Fortune Soul is playing a mid-game oriented carry, he will be farming up for his Radiance, and naturally that Radiance is going to come about in that 14 to 16 minute mark. It might even be earlier if he's having a great game, but because of that Radiance that you want to make, you won't have the kind of timing, you won't have the kind of push potential that you would ideally want to close out the game early. Especially since, first blood was achieved by Mamang Daya. So it's not as if you'll have the opportunity to, you'll have the advantage to push out very hard either. A lot of creeps here. This is a double wave. It might just end up being a triple wave that will push in towards Ikigai. He will just use his spells to clean out most of the creeps and also acquire a lot of lost hits. Speaking of the lost hits, you'll take a look at the lost hit chart and just see the kind of advantage that YACHE are building up for themselves. 32 lost hits compared to the 16 of Mamang Daya, and even though he was the one who grabbed up the first blood, he is still very low in terms of lost hits. It's trades all across the map with Fortune Soul and Tammy taking out the entire offlane duo from Carstensz. Both Ren and KNP will end up falling, and this is a lane that does not have any stun, has no disables. Even towards the mid lane, Ikigai with a shield crash on top of the Nature's Prophet, who is going to be forced to teleport away. So suddenly, YACHE decide to amp up the tempo, and they will be able to do so quite easily. I'm very surprised that a lane which has disables has completely whiffed, lost against a lane without any. How did Fortune Soul end up running over this Mars and a Tusk? It just seems impossible unless you make blunders. Speaking of a move though, it's towards that mid lane. Mamangdaya has already used his teleport, has no way out. The teleports from the supports will come in, but Ren will not be able to save his Nature's Prophet. And in fact, he can't even save himself. Mamangdaya and Ren to fall 4-1, 2,000 of a lead built up by YACHE. And they'll start applying pressure on this tier 1 tower. I spoke about the Pugna and his capacity to rotate, taking down towers early on. And he is going to demonstrate that even as he does not have the arcane boots for himself, he'll still dish out as many nether blasts as he can. No rolling thunder available, which means that potentially you can go for some counter push, but it's hard. It's so hard with the kind of supports that you have. Disruptor does not offer anything here. You need your Tusk, but the Tusk, when he showed up, lost his mid laner and also lost himself. Bisk is in danger, but Ikigai has the swashbuckle. Boombui might end up going down, but did find the glimpse back in time. And again, Fortune Soul 42 lost it versus the 30 of the Morph. Panda 36 in contrast to the 25 of the Mars. And even on that mid lane, 42 for Ikigai in comparison to the 28 of Mamangdaya means that Carstensz are winning the laning phase. Despite of the first blood. And really, that's all that Carstensz have gotten. The first blood. Everything else has gone the way of YACHE. Taking a look at the net worth, expectedly, it's all three heroes from YACHE's side who are at the very top on the net worth chart. With OMQ in contention for the top 3 spot. He is in 3rd place position now. Fortune Soul in danger. He's actually going to get spear back. He does have his borrowed time, but turns out the shards are going to miss. He is going to get glimpsed back though, but the Decrepify once again comes in. Mamangdaya is here too. They're really trying desperately to take Fortune Soul down. They won't be able to find the Abaddon, but they do find Tammy as Fortune Soul turns around and tries to fight back. Ikigai is here with the Rolling Thunder too, wants to activate it and charge on forward, but he is second guessing himself and isn't going to go very far. Panda is here too, and the problem is Carstensz used up quite a lot of fuel trying to take that Pugna down, who is going to respawn, and it's just going to be YACHE who will start applying pressure on this tier 1 tower again. Boombui and Ren are under leveled. I mean, Ren is level 3, Boombui is level 4. They don't have the Static Storm, so they cannot defend their towers. Even as Tammy was not involved in that tower trade. Bisk, not too sure what he wants to do there on Ren. Ren has a safety net of this tier 1, tier 2 tower, and will just be able to walk away. But, oh wow, Bisk actually found so many Shadow Poison stacks that he was able to take him down. I did not see that one coming. KNP is here, but does not have the arena. They will rely on the glimpse from Boombui to bring the Shadow Demon back, and Bisk, as he gets skewered to the wall, will die from the sprout of Mamangdaya. Nice kill being found, but it's just supports being traded. It's the tower that gives the real advantage to Carstensz, or rather to YACHE. Meanwhile, Morphling continuing to farm up, but the question in my mind is, can the Morphling farm fast enough to negate the amount of pressure that YACHE are constantly applying? You take a look at their team, and they're just rotating their heroes around as much as they can, leaving Fortune Soul to farm up for his Radiance. One more Nether Blast from Tammy will end up cleaning out the tower, as it will end up falling.
Middle tower has fallen.
Bot lane, Fortune Soul has the borrowed time. It's an impossible kill to get on Fortune Soul, quite honestly. I'm not even sure why they're trying to get the kill on him.
Dire's
Ikigai will end up going down, or rather will end up taking Ren down. This is the becomings of yet another disaster for Carstensz, as it just seems like they're being outclassed here, which is surprising considering that I would imagine that Q is just as good at Fortune Soul. Bumui is just as good as a support from Yasho, but
Dire's
doesn't
middle
seem
tower is
like
under attack.
I think it's just the overall strategy difference here. I think that Yasho are very much on the same page on everyone, while Carstensz are trying to play a mix and match strategy that isn't really working out. Tier 1 tower towards that top side, once again under threat.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's
Tower will end up going down.
Radiant are scanning.
But towards that mid lane, it's a full-on teamfight clash. Mars' arena gets used KMP, but they don't have the follow-up. And so it's a wasted arena, essentially. No static storm available from Bumui, as the rest of Carstensz are just going to run back as quickly as they can. A bit afraid of Panda coming in with the Ravage too, as he was on the side there. But all three tier 1 towers having been taken down, and it's actually Ren who is going to get caught. There is no Diffusal Blade though, or rather there is one from Ikigai, as Ren will end up going down. Neutral Creep will be the one to take him out though, so Ren didn't actually give any experience or gold away to the other side. And that is a bit worth it, I suppose, as far as sacrifices go. But does it mitigate the push that's going to come in? As KNP has the mana for the teleport, but Bisq is there with the disruption, so KNP doesn't have an easy teleport, is going to be able to run away though. I think he should be able to get out of this tricky spot. Yeah, I don't think Bisq can chase after him. Some space being made as KNP is going to go to farm up the jungle.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Fortune Soul has the relic.
Dire are scanning.
Ikigai with a Diffusal Blade
Bottom tower
is... I fail to see how... I mean, it is a 5,000 lead at the end of the day. You can see it on your screens. It's just so hard for for Carstensz to fight back. They do have a Static Storm on top of Ikigai, but the Disruption Stage comes out by Bisq, and it has ran out the storm. That means that Ikigai will be going on forward with the Rolling Thunder. Mamandaya caught in, has nowhere to escape, nowhere to go, no survivability. Even the Disruptor himself will end up getting taken out. Carstensz have lost 3 of their heroes as an arena comes out by KNP. Ravage has not come in as Panda is a bit too far away, but Fortune Soul is going on strong on towards KNP, who is going to possibly get sniped out, but he does manage to make it out. It's actually Q that will turn their attention towards, as KNP does fall to the Shadow Demon. Bisk was the one to take him out. 4 heroes in the place of 1. That's it. That's what Carstensz got. Just 1 support. Hammy. And that cannot be good enough. A 7,000 lead now up for YACHE. You take a look at the amount of gold that YACHE end up gaining. 1,700 in place of just 125 the Morphling got. Well, I mean, Morphling got a lot more, but I think the gold change, right? The network swing is just 125 for the side of Carstensz. Bisk moving on forward.
A gift from the tempest of battle.
Boombui will glimpse the Tidehunter back. But they will take out Boombui. I think he's dead. He cannot be any more dead, in fact. This guy getting sniped out. 7,000 of a lead up for YACHE, which has not budged. So the lead has stagnated, but it's only been a few minutes. They're going to start applying to the damage to the tier 2 tower. Last game, it was 14 minutes in when the tier 2 tower was caved in. This time around, it's going to stand around for a lot longer. But OMQ still has yet to make that Manta style. As an arena comes out from towards the other side, Ikigai, this could be a huge kill, but Panda comes in with the Ravage, turns it around towards Mamagdaya. Ikigai still is not safe, but will be able to get off his Rolling Thunder as this entire team fight has gone awry for the side of Carstensz. They will take Bisk out, but they will lose KNP for it as Ikigai continues to roll on forward on towards Tammy, who they cannot keep alive. So at the end of it all, although it may not be the end because Ikigai goes in with a swashbuckle, Mamagdaya does come in and they have Ikigai under wraps. They'll probably be able to take him down. The shield wasn't there in time, but Force and Soul can just chase after Ren, should be able to take the Tusk out. And overall 3 for 3, but the team fight is not over as OMQ is outnumbered against the 2 heroes. Mamagdaya is thinking about coming in, but this could be a mistake because Fortune Soul has the borrowed time at the ready. It's a Morphling who will be able to run away, but Mamagdaya may have to sacrifice his own life for it, will not be able to escape. At the end of it all, it will be a 4 for 3 as Carstensz had the makings of a good team fight that was going their way, but in the end, it still goes in favor of YACHE because of that last kill on Mamagdaya. It's a lot of gold going the way of the Morphling, though. That is something that you have to consider. And at the end of the day, they were able to keep their tier 2 tower alive. They forced out, I mean, essentially both teams did use all of their ultimates. And now, OMQ does have that Manta style. Is farming away for his butterfly. Boombui, awkward spot there. Even Ren is going to be disrupted. Has the snowball save, but is hit by the Shadow Demon's Demonic Purge. KNP comes in with an arena from the side, and the disruption, or rather the Decrepify from the Pugna will keep himself alive. All the meanwhile, they make quick work of the rest of these supports. It's a 2 for 1, and I think it's going to remain a 2 for 1. Abaddon will just continue to farm.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Tormentor is going to be picked up, or rather, cleared out. Panda goes in with the gush and has the anchor, or dead in the water. As Boombui is going to be dead on land as well. He is a dinosaur facing extinction at this point. 10,000 of a lead. As this is the push that is very difficult to stop now with the way that YACHE are positioned. Towards the side, Nature's Prophet Mamang Daya ends up getting caught out. He did steal the Shrine of Wisdom, but at what cost is the question? It is the cost of his life. And that is a trade not worth it, because sure, you don't gain that much experience. I mean, that doesn't show the experience that they gave away with the death of Mamang Daya. Fight recap should change and show Mamang Daya's death. Oh, there we go. 1500 experience. They do gain more experience with the kill, or rather with the Shrine of Wisdom steal. But at the end of the day, the Shrine of Wisdom gives about 1680 experience to Carstensz. As OMQ picks up 5 bounty runes. That is a lot of gold. That's 350 gold each for one of those bounty runes. For 5 gold, that's what, 2,000, nearly 2,000 gold, 1750 gold, going the way of Carstensz. Interesting that all 5 of those bounty runes were kept there. Really goes to show the priorities of YACHE this game. They just want to play so aggressive. Although the loss of those 5 bounty runes is really going to hurt them. I mean, did not want to give OMQ the amount of space that he is receiving. I think that despite of this 8,000 lead that YACHE have, Carstensz aren't in that bad of a spot. They're very close to OMQ achieving his butterfly. And if they can get to that timing, just hold on to the game, they could potentially force out a game number 3. Because it will be very difficult to actually contest against this Morphling in the late game. Fortune Soul is just farming away, has the Blink Dagger as well as that Radiance. Is going to go for that Orchid because he did pick up the Cornucopia. All they have to do is hold on, but it will be a Roshan under siege. And the question is, do they continue holding on or do they take the fight to YACHE?
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Your shrine has fallen to the Radiant. Radiant are scanning.
Ikigai will have the Aegis
Radiant's top tower
in hand.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Ren is in a bit of trouble. Well, I mean, he's dead. Tier 2 tower, the first one of the game. 24 minutes in, not a bad timing for a late game oriented team. Or not a bad timing to lose your tower in if you're Carstensz. I think you're not going to be too displeased about that. You have a solid way back into this game. Their high ground defense is pretty formidable with the arena for KNP, who has a BKB too. Speaking of KNP, the Tidehunter is teleporting in, but I don't think Panda sees KNP. Bisque is going to see Mamang Daya, has the disruption, but there's no one nearby. So the Nature's Prophet will be able to teleport away. So will KMP, who had to use the BKB to make his way out. It did seem like the 3 heroes from YACHE were on top of him. So first BKB use of, or rather from KMP, not really going to be of much value. Apart from just keeping himself alive. But that's not how you want the BKB to be used. You want to play aggressive with the BKB. But I think they just need to buy more time. OMQ now has the butterfly. Is going to be going for his own BKB. Farming up with the Morphling.
Has been killed. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom
Second tower, or second tier 2 tower, is going to be taken out.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Are they thinking about going high ground? They do have the Aegis up for Ikigai.
Radiant's top tower is under
Planting down some sentries which see each other. But the Netherblots are going to continue pounding this tower. So what is the game plan? Meanwhile, Morphling, OMQ does trade tier 2. But the question is, will OMQ come back to defend this? Because the glyph has worn out and the tower is being sieged. It will end up falling. Now the question is, do they defend their barracks? Because I think they have the means to try and defend at least. But it's so risky, right? Panda, he's going to go in. They'll make a play from Amang Daya and they will take the Nature's Prophet down. It seems like YACHE will not hesitate at all. Not even for a second. And the barracks, they will be cleared up. Glyph does refresh as KNP goes in, finds a spear, but not exactly lands it on anyone. And now Panda goes in for a ravage towards that backline. Fortress Soul ends up with a double kill. It's on the second tier 3s as Carstensz. They do not have the buyback for KNP. No buyback for the Tusk either. And as Amang Daya has a buyback, it's so risky. He's only 10 seconds out, so they will need to wait for Amang Daya. But they'll lose their second tier 3 for this. And I don't think that YACHE are going anywhere. They still have the Aegis for a full minute. Their heroes are incredibly healthy. And even though they don't have the Ravage, I think they can fight without it. Poogies are fleeing. Teleports are coming in. Fortune Soul will have taken down the barracks as the initiation comes out from the side of Carstensz. Amang Daya towards that backline. He seems he teleported into an awkward spot. He will end up losing his life. He does have a buyback, but needs to commit to it if they want to continue on fighting. But I think for YACHE, they'll just disengage as soon as Carstensz go back. But it seems like they're not interested in disengaging. They want to continue on poking further. They want the ranged barracks, but they'll have to go back. KNP though, he's not going to allow it. He is going to go in with an arena, catching the 3 from YACHE inside of it. As Amang Daya comes in with a buyback, the Punk's not unable to heal up, but it's OMQ who has to try and maneuver around because he doesn't have the HP. He's going to end up losing his life. As Amang Daya came in with the buyback, may not be able to make it out, but does find the teleport. Meanwhile, Boombui does glimpse the Tidehunter back, but he's not exactly the target you want to be glimpsing. It's Ikigai who will continue to go on forward. KNP and Boombui, both the ones in danger. Fortune Souls, Bling Dagger is going to be coming off of cooldown as Amang Daya comes back for potentially a third or even a fourth time. Ren is here with his own buyback. They might be able to take Ikigai down. They do, and they even spear Fortune Soul. But Ikigai has that second life. And this is impossible. Amang Daya stuck on the cliff there. Ikigai to end up with a double kill. As KNP is the only one alive on his team. And it really, this just seems too brutal to fight back against now. 19,000 of a lead up for YACHE. And sure, they can't acquire Mega Creeps, but they can just make their move on the tier 4s. 60 seconds without their Nature's Prophet. Carstensz have limited options. Boombui is going to be taken out as soon as he respawns. They find a spear back on towards Ikigai, who is going to take in a lot of hits from the fountain, but got his Rolling Thunder off, and Pami is going to just give him the heal. OMQ to fall for a second time, and that really should be it. Amang Daya will call GG as he finds his team wiped out of not only this game, but the first one as well, and also this series against YACHE. Oh man, what a good series coming out by YACHE. They really seem to have upped their level. And I'm not just talking about this series, I'm also talking about yesterday. While sure they didn't manage the win against Ivory, they did play a phenomenal game. Let's see what YACHE have in store, and let's see what since they are the defending champions, this is their first series win. Hopefully Carstensz can also manage up a comeback in some of their later matches. That, it's a group stage, it's a round robin, so you have plenty of matches to be played. You have plenty of time to display what you're made of and make it into the playoffs. For now, guys, we are going to be heading off to a bit of an extended break because both of these two games, they barely lost it. The first one was 22 minutes, the second one was 29 minutes. So we ended up finishing the entire best of 3 in less than an hour of total game time. So we will be off to a short break. It's going to be a bit over an hour before we have our next series that is going to be between Yangon Galacticos and Team Murlocs. For now, that's going to be it. The stream will be on. I will be signing out for now, but we will be back with Lunar Stake Trophy Season 5 after about an hour where we have Murvox facing off against